My name is Godswill Ugwa.
And I'm Josellie Rios.
And this is One Piece at a Time. We're your hosts, and this podcast will explore each episode of this beloved franchise from the perspective of a seasoned One Piece fan and a first-time watcher.
We are social media producers at Funimation, and we can't wait to dive into the One Piece anime. So join us on this adventure starting right now.
So, we are back for episode 5. Woo! Yeah, episode 5 of the podcast. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying it a ton, watching it over again. And then I hope you're enjoying it too, right?
I am so much enjoying it.
Well, you guys are about to enjoy it even more because we have our first guest of the podcast.
Yay!
We have Jonna, who is a senior copywriter of Funimation. So she writes all the creative writing for the company, all the summaries you read on the back of your boxes. Everything that pretty much is written is this woman right here. And she is the one who taught me what I know about One Piece. She is the one who has graced me with knowledge and information on One Piece. You need to listen to this woman.
What an introduction.
Thank you so much for gracing our podcast. Thank you.
Okay, stop here. I can't. Wow.
Welcome, Jonna.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. This is super fun. I am not that crazy awesome, like Godswill said. I am just a local fangirl and just a fellow coworker here on the Funimation team.
You've even cosplayed from One Piece too, right?
I have, yeah. I did Nico Robin with expandable wings.
Yeah,
that was fun.
See, that's how awesome she is, y'all.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Understand. And yeah, like we've done a few One Piece things together in the past, right? So,
yeah, we've done some stuff, some commentary on episodes and stuff.
So yeah, it's really exciting to have you on.
Oh, thank you.
You know, even though they say it's overblown, I mean it. Like she has honestly like shown me a lot of details of One Piece where I never saw this before. So I think you and Josellie are going to be great foils to each other, and I'm just going to listen and be like, wow. You know, what do you mean Luffy's hat was red?
The meaning of it, it's so deep.
What? So yeah, I'm really excited to really get into this podcast, and you're our first guest, so you're our guinea pig. So
cool. All right.
If this doesn't work out, no more guests.
Oh. Pressure's on. Thanks, Godswill.
I know you can do it.
All right.
So, anyways, last podcast episode, we were on episode 4 of podcast, and we talked about the Battle of the Baratie, where Luffy defeated Don Krieg, and Sanji joined the crew, and we actually see all of them start to catch up to Zoro, Usopp, and Nami.
So now on episode 5, we're covering episodes 31 to 38. Where the crew follows Nami to her hometown and we learn a little bit of her history. And we meet Arlong's crew, a new enemy.
Oh, man.
Arlong pirates.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Ooh.
I'm excited. So we'll get into it as we get through it, but I'm hoping this changes your opinion of Nami. Maybe not.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't want to say.
Okay.
Wait. What is your opinion on Nami?
Let's bring you up to date. So far, I'm watching One Piece for the first time. So far, I cannot deal with Nami. Like, I can't.
Like gas.
I don't blame her.
Like gas.
Okay, all right.
I was like,
because fair. Okay.
Honestly,
she brought some really good
points. The thing is, I really like that she's a badass girl. I like that she... You know, she can fight for herself. She's not waiting for anybody to defend her or anything.
Right.
But I can't deal that you can't trust her. Like, you cannot count on her. And I mean, you need to be able to trust your crew, you know, at least to not leave you stranded on a
for sure.
sea restaurant.
Yeah, right. 'Cause I didn't even really think about that. Yeah, right. Like, the whole Baratie, like, she just ditched him. And I was like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. But then it was just like, oh, wait, that is a big deal, actually. Ooh. Especially after all the adventures they went through already.
Fair.
But, so that's my stand with Nami. Right. So far, I mean, I can change my
things
opinion.
Could change.
We never know. So first episode is episode 31. The worst man in the eastern seas, fisherman pirate Arlong.
Ooh. Oh, boy. So also, this is your first time to see a different type of person in the world of One Piece.
Yes. When I heard fishman, I thought he was like a fisherman. Like,
no.
I didn't think he was actually a fishman.
Yeah, right? It's like, what's a fishman?
So I was sort of like Luffy and on the episode when they start telling him. They start telling him about the fishman. And he's like, do they look like this? And I'm like, That's how I can see it in my head.
Yeah,
I
right.
think.
I mean, I don't blame you. Like, if you didn't know what a fishman was, yeah, for sure. Yeah, fishmen, they're important for the series also.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, it really like kind of just opens up the world to like a whole larger scope.
Exactly.
And it's really exciting.
And you'd be surprised the types of people you're going to see in One Piece. Like just humanoid things, honestly.
Okay. So this is just the first of
many.
Of many humanoid species. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyways, let's get on with this episode. So, what happened before Nami took the ship, the Going Merry, and they beat Don Krieg, like we said, and then now they're like, okay, I guess we should go find Nami because she stole our ship because it was really nice. Come on now. So, now Luffy's on the way with Yosaku, and then they hear that, like, she's going back to Arlong's group, and Arlong has the highest bounty that they've seen so far, which is 20 million berries.
So he starts sort of explaining to Luffy who Arlong is, because they don't know. And can you tell me a little bit about that intro story that he says? Because it was confusing to me, because he starts speaking of the Seven Lords and all that stuff. So it was a little bit, since I don't have any context to it.
Yeah, oh man. So this,
pretty hard for me.
This is also like a really cool moment, because this is like it's starting to open up the whole world of One Piece. Like it's no longer just, yay, you know, like we're just going to have fun island. Island is like, no, there's a giant world of, you know, like that's in play. So you have the Marines, of course, right? You have pirates. And then some pirates are super strong, and they are called the Warlords. Yeah, so they're called the Warlords, and there's 7 of them, and they're like some of the toughest people in the world, and they are on the payroll of the military, and what that means is they can still do their own pirate stuff, but they can't interfere. Like, and also if the military call them, then they have to come back. Yeah, they have to do whatever the Marines say, but they could do most of what they want. Or do you have anything to add with that?
No, that's basically it. It's just like this, you know, kind of shady relationship where the government turns a blind eye to what these warlords are doing because there's just like a mutual benefit, you know, behind the scenes. And it's intriguing.
Yeah, and if there's any big moment that the Navy, Marines, you know, like the military needs them for, then they have to come. They have to go for that. We saw actually one of the warlords beforehand, so that was Mihawk. You know, so you remember seeing Hawkeye Mihawk before?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, but you see like how tough he was. Even that night, it was just like, all right.
He just caught that ship with a giant sword.
You're right. Like 50 meters away or whatever, right? Just like, no biggie, right? So, yeah, that's one of them. So we're going to see more of them in the future, possibly.
Gotcha. So Sanji, they're not really worried, Sanji and Luffy. I guess because they don't really know this Arlong person.
They don't know.
So yeah, it's like they're ignorant.
Yeah. So Sanji's like, I'm just gonna go cook, and he starts cooking, and the sounds the cooking is making. Yeah, I think it reminded me of like when my grandma cooks, and she's just using all of that stuff, and it sounds like sizzling. Yeah. Like, I bet that tastes delicious.
Yeah, oh man, because for me, I'm all about the visual. I'm just like, oh man, I need some of this right here. Like, honestly, like, Sanji's cooking. I think I asked a long time ago, what would you want Sanji to cook? But honestly, anything he makes is good. I don't think he's ever made a bad dish, right?
I've always wanted to try Sanji's cooking.
Yeah, right.
I just want to know. What is it like?
Right.
What would you like to try? Like, if you could pick.
Just because it's on topic right now, wedding cake.
I would like to try that wedding cake too, honestly.
I think we all would. We would want to know.
Yes, it's all you need to know is like Sanji made a wedding cake that made people pass out from the cream.
Oh wow,
So,
it's just so good.
Like so good, like pass out, not poison.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's my level of cooking.
Yes.
You pass out from the poison when I cook.
What was in this cream? Oh God.
It's doom.
But yes, that's a cool point. Yeah.
Yeah. At the point when they're talking about the warlords, isn't this when we first hear of Jinbei?
I think they said his name. Yeah.
This is
they
when
said
we
his
first heard of him.
Yeah. So
maybe they mentioned him.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of characters you're going to see like who are warlords. And did they mention what Jinbei was?
They didn't mention too much about it, but I remember vaguely that the silhouette that they were showing kind of didn't align with how Jinbei looked.
Because like the warlords don't look like, you saw like the silhouettes of them, all of them. they don't look like that at all.
Okay.
Because I remember like watching that like a long time ago myself and thinking like the warlords were all just people.
And then now you're like, oh.
No. Like normal sized or regular people. You know, like Mihawk.
I didn't notice anything.
That's the thing about One Piece. Like, the more important and powerful a character is, the weirder they look.
Yes. Well, like, for the most part.
For the most part.
Yes.
Like they're huge or they're just a different size.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
They're something else. Oh, my God. So, yeah, I'm interested for you to see all that. So, and I think by the time we get to the end of this binge watch, which is episode 325, for the end of post-Ennies, you should see maybe one more.
Warlord?
One more warlord, yeah. Because I don't think like she's gonna see a lot of them. So I'm excited for you to see all that. That's so exciting. Like, this is the world of One Piece, which is starting to be fleshed out.
I also wanted to take a moment and can we talk about Sanji's cigarette? Because he's a chain smoker. Like, he's always got a cigarette in his mouth.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because
yes.
Because he's on fire.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I never thought about like why he smokes. And again, can you really ask a smoker why they smoke?
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, back when this was kind of when the manga was being written, it still looked kind of cool to smoke, and that was the image that portrayed.
And then we all learned to say no, and they're like, that's not cool anymore, Sanji.
The world has learned since then.
How
it's not
this allowed though? Like, on TV.
Well, it was.
All right, let me tell you something, all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so you remember when I told you I first watched One Piece, right? There was this other dub for kids, right?
Yeah.
So before, they actually changed up that, so it wasn't cigarettes, he was always with a lollipop.
They drew a circle in the end.
Yes.
So it looked like a lollipop.
Wait, like a upside down lollipop? Like,
no, like he would have it in his
lollipop.
mouth.
Oh, okay.
So
anytime you take it out of his mouth, it would be a lollipop.
Yeah.
So anytime you put it in his mouth, it'd just be a white stick, and then it'd be like, takes it out and it's like, oh, it's a lollipop, not smoking.
But doesn't it have smoke sometimes?
They would edit out the smoke.
Yeah.
They would edit all that out.
Oh, I think our audio engineer actually mentioned this before.
Yeah,
they
edited out a lot of
They
stuff.
had a whole team for this.
It was a crazy time. Like, luckily now we don't do any of that. We don't edit animation anymore. We don't mess with that. So.
How long did that go for?
I don't know.
You don't know?
3
Because it's
years?
hard to imagine 800 plus episodes.
No.
Yeah,
not at all. Like, they stopped like after like 160, I think.
That's a very interesting fact, though.
Yeah. And they skipped a lot of episodes. Like, that was an older time period, like when America was really getting into animation.
And that's when it was, on broadcast TV like that,
Like, they made it for kids, and they were like, oh, kids shouldn't see smoking. I mean, even in Japan, like, they'll edit out smoking sometimes.
Yeah.
Violence, gore, don't worry.
Yeah.
But smoking, my God.
But just for fans, like now, what we have on the site that you can stream, that's all like the original.
Yes.
That's not
exactly
edited to have a lollipop.
A lollipop
we don't do
is
anything
a little
but the
bit
4 kids.
healthier, though.
Exactly, right? Exactly. And
Another thing that I almost immediately noticed was Sanji didn't change. Like, Nami changed her outfit when she left.
the guys don't change their outfits often.
I noticed,
Yes.
but I mean, he's wearing a suit, which is very non-piratey of him.
Oh, get ready. You're not ready yet.
There's a lot of things
nothing.
non-pirate about a lot of things.
I have to get
You know
used to all
nothing
this.
yet of oh no.
But I mean, isn't it uncomfortable for him? Because he does like all these leg kicks all the time, and he's wearing a suit.
He
Like
makes
a
it
full
work.
I
button
don't
up
know.
I
suit.
guess he got like a really good suit because I mean, like, he's always like buttoned up and
His pants don't break.
No.
Like,
He's just gotta have that suave look to him, you know?
true.
Got some really stretchy pants,
Yeah.
I guess.
No, I mean, I was sitting here like thinking about like the sort of nautical aspects of this, like seafaring aspects, because there's that one scene when the cow pulls them, and when you first see it, the ship still has its sails down, and it's moving fast. Like that just logically would not work. They would have to furl the sails. But the next time you see them, they have furled the sails.
I wouldn't even thought about that.
And so I'm just like, like some of the stuff I have a slight interest in some, sailing, things like that. So
I've
it's like,
seen
that would not make any sense. I get so excited in the show when they actually use like terms or say like furl the sails or head like west or
It's like, whoa,
whatever.
they're on a boat. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
Like, sometimes I forgot. Like
They're actually pirates.
You're right.
they're navigating.
Right?
navigating,
It's like,
yeah.
what? That makes sense.
Speaking of navigator.
You're right. Yeah. So now they're gonna go find their not navigator to be, I guess, right? So they're chasing Nami back to Kokoyashi Village, right? Where we actually meet Arlong and his sea creatures, so the actual fishmen. So we saw Luffy's drawing of the fish people, right? And like it was sort of bizarre to me. I was like, how would you not know what a fishman is? And I was like, wait, actually that does make sense. If you don't know what a fishman is, that what would you say that is, right? Just mermaids that are walking on their hands and they are people that are just fish.
Yeah, they just have like fish forms. Yes. They're like humanoids of fish forms.
I would want to be a fishman.
Yeah?
I think so.
Which one would you want to be?
Oh, like if I could be like a particular type of fish?
Yeah, because, Arlong's a shark, and then the other guy's an octopus, and we have the big mouth.
There are all sorts of different
there are all sorts of different creatures.
Maybe I'd want to be like the martial arts one, the manta ray guy.
Oh, yeah. I call him samurai fish.
Yeah, samurai fish.
That's cute.
I like that. Is there one that you would want to be?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I didn't even think about it. I like being a human, honestly.
you can be a human. For me, like, because also as we keep going through this podcast episode, like I was so afraid of them going underwater the whole time. I was like, okay, I can breathe because I'm a fisherman. Oh God, like because seeing like Sanji, there's later on there's a Sanji fight, right?
Okay.
And that one traumatized me. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. I can't do this.
Because he's underwater
he was underwater for so long.
Yeah.
And like that honestly like bothered me. I was like,
really?
Yes, like I still think about it. In fact, I'm getting a little apprehensive thinking about that. I was like like eesh. Like I'm a bad swimmer. Anyways.
So we meet Arlong and his crew, and we see that Nami is actually part of this crew. And I'm like, I told you can't trust no one.
She ain't loyal.
Yeah, I can't trust Nami. She was part of this crew the whole time. So meanwhile, Zoro and Usopp make it to the island. And Usopp's like trying to be smart, and he's saying like, okay, let's check if she's here. And Zoro's like, no, let's just fight.
Let's just go.
So they tie him up to the mast.
Because also he just got hurt. He just got cut up too. Which
Zoro's always getting hurt. Like,
yes.
And he's...
You haven't seen like a real Zoro fight yet because like he's always been hurt the whole time. Like or like something has happened where he doesn't have a sword, so he's hurt, or something has sort of like stopped him from like going all out.
I mean, something has to, or else he'd just... He'd break everything.
True.
I mean, right? Because he's been fighting this whole time hurt. Yes. I can't imagine how he will fight.
Earlier on.
How he'll fight when he's like 100% healthy.
Oh, man. I can't wait for you to see it. Oh, man. Don't worry. Like, I think he stops getting hurt soon. I think after this, maybe.
He's hurt through the whole whole episode.
Anyways, it's for his own good that Usopp and them all tie him up.
Yeah, but then I mean it's to his detriment.
Yeah, I know, right? When they left him, so like they tied him up, and then they see fishermen coming towards them, and then
they escape without him.
Like I was like, wow. Just as we were talking about Nami, can't trust y'all. You guys left him tied up over there.
Right?
Yeah.
Who's the untrustworthy one? Yeah.
So the fisherman brings Zoro in to Arlong, and he sees Nami, and she starts like being a jerk. Like she starts like, it was all an act. We were never friends.
What? Friendship though.
It's so heartbreaking though.
Yeah.
Because like you can just see it in her face too. Like just knowing the true story behind it and going back and rewatching that, you're just like, it hurts a bit more because you know what's going on, and then she has to say these things and really sell it to the Arlong pirates because it's more about her convincing them, like her loyalty, and I'm doing air quotes here, and it's, oh man.
I
bet.
Scene. For me, it was like, I'm just appalled. I'm like, I knew I couldn't trust you now. Because I don't know the story.
Right. But then how did you feel when Zoro jumped into the water?
Right. So he's like, I know I couldn't trust you. And he jumps into the water, and at first I didn't really know what he was doing. Like, I didn't know she was testing him. He was testing her. But then she jumps in. So then that's when I picked up the fact that maybe the act wasn't for Luffy and the crew. It's for the pirates. You know, she has to keep up.
Man, I think I was pretty convinced myself when I watched it the first time, and even watching it again, I was like, wow, she does a good job, honestly, selling me that she's supposed to be like.
I
believe
believe that.
Yeah, exactly.
And she puts like these like evil face too.
Yeah, God, like the way they do the art style and they draw the faces to have so much expression to them, it really adds to it. Because her face gets like really, really creepy at some points.
Yes,
like, damn,
I
Nami.
definitely agree with that.
I think that's where it ends. Like we just see like
we just see her like her evil face, right?
Like her evil face, and that's where it ends.
Yeah.
To be continued. And there's a new ending.
Yeah.
On this episode.
What did you think about that?
No more as a kid.
As a kid, I never stopped searching for honestly, like, as we were talking about it, I was like, man, that song stuck in my head, but this is a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But and then it goes.
Exacto, that's the one.
I even forgot about the endings because, like I told you before, like after a while they stopped doing endings as a whole. But as I would watch this, I was like, I actually sort of like the endings, even though sometimes they're a little corny. You're like,
about this ending, I liked that it has like more visual bits. Like we see the crew on the ship, and we see them as babies and whatnot. But I really preferred the as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
music.
Me too. For all you collectors out there, episode of Sabo is now available on Blu-ray and DVD, so you can watch it dubbed for the first time. So, you get your characters, Sabo, you cover your ears, right?
La 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 la.
So, yeah, right. New characters that we've never seen before get dubbed, so that's really exciting. And then also Adventure Nebulandia is also up for pre-order, which is going to be coming out June 18th, which is going to be also dubbed for the first time. And these and all the episodes we talk about are available on home video on the Funimation shop on our website. So be sure to check out those and add One Piece to your shelf. Episode 32, Witch of Kokoyashi Village, Arlong's female leader. Dun, dun, dun.
That's Nami.
Female leader, right?
Leader.
Exactly, you're like, female leader. Nani? So, yeah.
So the Luffy and the crew are getting ready to eat, and on the last episode, one of the fishermen mentioned that his monster was missing.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So we
the
see
octopus
them.
one, right?
We see the monster lurking around, and it's a giant cow. That's after.
Yeah, a giant sea cow.
Yeah,
more
after
literally.
Adorable.
Right,
Yeah.
sea cow. Sorry, not a cow.
Yeah, right.
It's not a giant cow.
I mean, it is a cow, but it's like of the sea. I like for me, I like there's a good play on words. Like, it's a cow, but it's like a sea cow. It's not a manatee, but it's a sea cow.
So they end
Sorry.
up. Sanji ends up punching him or whatever. And
wait, Luffy punches him first, right? He's like, don't steal my food, and then Sanji's like, it's a baby, man, chill out. And then he kicks it in the face too. I was like,
psych.
Wow. It was like, wow.
I'm like, poor cow. I mean, it just wants some food.
Right. They're like, oh, it's a baby, can't fend for itself. And then Sanji lures it in. He's like, come here, little cow thing. Kicks it in the mouth, and I was like, wow.
Wow. Brutal.
Oh, man, that whole thing cracked me up.
So Usopp, back to Usopp, he had made his way to the village, and this girl finds him, this purple
Blue
hair.
Or purple, yeah.
Yeah, purple hair. Is it purple or blue?
Like indigo.
It's a mix. I think it's more blue.
Yeah.
It's bluish,
Okay.
maybe like a light blue.
Yeah, just a tint of purple, Anyways, this girl. Here it
So
comes.
she sort of saves him from himself because he's making a fool. Yeah,
stupid, right?
to do something stupid with a fish man.
Right.
And he wakes up in her house.
Because she knocks him out, right? Yeah, she knocks him out, drags him away, and then tells the fishermen that are looking for him, like, oh, he went that way. And I was like, man, that's slick. That's a slick move right there.
And then he finds out that she's Nami's sister.
So cool.
So, yeah, Nami has family. What? And what'd you think about that?
Not sure, because at first I was like, well, she has a sister, but she's a pirate, so does she know she's a pirate? And then, because this girl's covered in tattoos also, so for a second I thought that, maybe she was also a pirate, maybe. That's what I thought when I first saw her. But then I learned that no. As far as we know at this point, Nami basically betrayed her village and just went off with Arlong. Nami.
Can't trust her at all. So it seems. So then we also go back to Zoro. Because Usopp's like, oh yeah,
oh right, I left Zoro
I left
by
him
himself.
behind, right? Like a good friend. And then we go back to Zoro, like who did all the things that we were talking about before. Yeah, so like how he jumps into the water, like because they're doing this test.
Yeah.
And we see like he starts drowning in water, and he's also still hurt too.
Yeah, for a second I thought that he was just gonna do something and free himself and jump out of the water and just kick everybody's ass.
Yeah, right. I wish.
And then it's just like silence, and you're like, wait, Zoro.
Right. So, like that whole scene also traumatized me too. I was like, oh god, he's drowning. I feel like I got some trauma. I got some childhood trauma I gotta talk about.
You probably do that because I do this too. Whenever it's a scene where characters are underwater, I try to hold my breath at the same time. But then they do something like cut to commercials, and you're just like struggling with like,
do I start again?
If I breathe again and start over,
right?
Do I still
Did
support?
I really do it? Right? And yeah, I mean things like that like terrify me. I'm just like, yeesh. I hate like seeing people drown. Like seeing people get cut up. That's okay. Seeing people get punched. That happens.
But drowning.
Oh, no. That and freezing. I can't do that. But anyways, Nami saves him, goes in there, saves him, punches him in the face or kicks him or something like that, right? It's like, don't do that again. It's like, all right, at least you're somewhat good or sorts. I don't know. Whatever, right?
So they lock him up.
Then we also learn a little bit about Arlong as he's going into town to go find the stragglers, who also escaped, right?
Yeah, so he starts giving the people some trouble because they tell them they can't have weapons because he can't be having people uprising or anything. And he starts talking about his empire. So it's not just control of this island that he has. He's got control of, I think he says, over 20 islands, and everyone has to pay them tribute or they'll kill everybody. Man. Like if one person doesn't pay, he'll just destroy the whole place.
And I thought it was going to be like that person at first, but then it was like, oh, everybody. Man, that's brutal. And like it was like a large amount of money too, like millions of dollars, right?
Yeah, it was 100,000 berries for adults and 50,000 for each kid.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a lot.
He's talking to Gonzo at this point,
Genzo,
right?
yeah.
Genzo, with the pinwheel on his head.
And the unfortunate scars on his face and or throughout his whole body. And like he's talking to him like, where are the weapons? Like, we know you guys got some stuff. And Genzo's like, nah, man, chill, man. It's all good, man. We're not doing anything. But then he started to choke out Genzo. I'm not sure he's going to kill him, but he's going to do some bad things to him, right?
Yeah.
I feel bad for this old man, too. Like, he has gone through so much.
Yeah.
At least Usopp does a good thing here, like he's making up for his points with Zoro by standing in here. And he shoots Arlong in the face with an explosive star or something like that, right?
One of his moves.
And I like that. Like he's standing on top of the house. His legs are shaking.
I know.
Right?
Yeah. And he's like, I'm the great warrior of the sea.
I'm the great warrior of the sea.
Yeah, but he's shaking.
I love it. For me, I'm like, that's fair. It's like if I was him, I wouldn't be. If I saw these, honestly, monster human things that are like grabbing people with one hand.
And they're super big, too.
Yeah, they're like 7 feet tall and just muscle, right? And if my bomb didn't work to his face, well, deuces, y'all. This isn't my fight. Good luck to y'all.
Peace out.
All right.
This is the first time we see Arlong, like, how strong he actually is. And he picks up, like, the whole house with
literally flipping the house.
Literally flips the house.
Man, what a situation. And then... but then he runs away, luckily. He falls. He's like, am I dead? And he's like, oh, I'm alive. Cool. Deuces, y'all. And then he's like, go find that guy, right? Who did that?
And the other fishermen take Arlong away. They're like, okay.
I don't destroy everybody.
Yeah, because they're like, we need them to pay the money. And if you destroy the village, we don't get no money.
Right, man.
So they're a bit smarter. That Arlong clearly.
Yeah, not
he
just a
wants
muscle
money,
bound,
but
whatever.
he just wants to be bad.
Yeah, and then the last thing we see in this episode is we actually go back to Nami and Zoro, and we see Nami actually release Zoro, right? And then, which is great. And then she's like, okay, at least you're not so bad, but still you're on thin ice, lady. And then also we hear her say something, which is like, just need $7 million more or berries, sorry, so that way she can get to the 100 million that she's trying to.
And she mentions that they're gonna buy the town back. So then I'm like, oh, okay. You got a reason, I guess. Still skeptical at this point, Jonna. Sorry.
I mean, come on. You see, she's got a goal. It isn't just like, oh, it's for me.
It could have been for her, though.
No, I don't know. I mean, if you say like, oh, I gotta, buy the town back, it's like, well, what? So, I don't know.
My town now. Everyone kissed the pinky.
I know, right? So she's just like queen of the town now.
Right. And it's like,
all that money, she just wants to be queen of this one little podunk town.
Right.
On an island.
Welcome back to One Piece at a Time. My name is Godswill Ugwa, and my mission statement is to eat more oranges today.
Okay.
Yeah.
How specific.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, my name is Josellie Rios, and my mission this week is to do my best to forgive Nami.
Oh.
I'm not sure how or when, but
Eventually.
she's been through a lot.
Episode
clearly.
316. Now she is forgiven.
3 years later. So, Jonna, just so you know, when we first started, so when we first started, we talked about how Luffy always does his mission statement whenever he meets somebody. He's like, I am Monkey D. Luffy, and I'm going to be king of the pirates. And he wants everybody to know that. You know, because he's
even
like...
Zoro did a mission statement.
Exactly. So we do this thing every episode where we tell our own mission statements, you know, trying to make them happen. Also, Jonna, what's your mission statement?
On the spot.
Oh, to get more sleep.
There we go.
I'll accept that as my mission statement.
Okay.
It's honest. It's me.
Yeah. It's important.
And that's good.
We all need sleep.
The world needs more sleep. Maybe that's going to be your devil fruit if you ever get one.
It's the sleep fruit.
Yeah.
You just pass the heck out.
Yeah. And also, don't forget, you can watch all One Piece anime episodes on Funimation.com/OnePiece or the Funimation Now app. And don't forget to check out our blog, funi.to/onepiecepodcast for all the info on binge routes and more. Now, let's get to episode 33. Usopp's dead. When is Luffy gonna make landfall?
And I've been wondering that myself. Like, it's been 2 episodes of Luffy waiting for Luffy. Where are you? Get here already. So the boat's being towed by the cow.
And this is the part where they furl the sails. So they like, okay, your ship
doing
shape.
Ship stuff?
Yeah, you can actually like get going, get moving with this.
Usopp ends up captured too. Zoro's just waiting in Arlong Park.
Yeah, he just beat up everybody. Yeah, he beat up actually he killed everybody. Yeah,
he killed everybody.
And because that's what they said. I was like, whoa, he killed people? Wow.
Yeah, like when the guys, Arlong left with some of his crew to the town, and when Nami let him go, instead of going, he's just killed everybody and just stays there, like, waiting for them to come back.
What a badass right here. I mean, like, yeah, true demon. Like, he's just sitting on the throne, just be like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Well,
I like his look, by the way. He's got a blue shirt.
Yeah, he changes up some clothes. Yeah, right, So that was
very tropical. I like it.
I do like. This is the beginning of them starting to wear different clothes, which is pretty cool.
I love new outfits.
Yes, me too.
It's fun.
Me too. I mean, I was ready for them to wear the same thing the whole time, but no, they actually changed, which is nice.
Yes.
So, but then the octopus Hachan comes and he's behind the wall, so he doesn't see what happened. And he's like, "Hey, man!" Right? He's like, "Hey, man, you need some help? You want to?
Are you a guest?"
Right? He's like, Zoro's like, yeah, that's what I am. So like, hey, can you take me to the other side? Yeah, sure thing. I got you, man. So Hachan ends up taking him in his jug thing. I don't know.
On his back.
Yeah. Which I thought was funny. Like,
best transit.
I know,
like, can we all please just ride around an octopus?
Right,
like,
giant
little,
octopus man, right?
Yeah, like their little like vase taking you around. Like, all right.
That was cool, but I was just like, Hachan, you smart. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, he's not the
You'll
sharpest
see when you
tool.
get back. You'll see when you get back.
Yeah, so Zoro's now in town, and Usopp's now at Arlong Park because he got captured. And you're like, didn't you? Should have waited.
All the fishermen who just captured him, like, what just happened? Because they see all their friends dead. So yeah, like it's not the best look for him, and he's like, what's going on? Now everyone's mad at Usopp, even though he didn't do anything this time. And Usopp's trying to escape, especially as he sees Nami. He's like, oh, good, okay, mission accomplished. I'm gonna save Nami. Like, she's been captured by these Arlong pirates. It's gonna be all good. But dun dun dun, he doesn't know that Nami betrayed the group. Sad time. So then he tries this smoke bomb, but Nami caught him, and then it looks like that she has stabbed him.
She stabbed him, and he falls into the water. How could you, Naomi?
You're right. The water
turns
red.
That's what I was thinking.
I know.
Were you just heartbroken at this point? Like you were like, I knew it.
I was like, I mean, at this point, she just keeps on surprising me.
She's a witch.
And I'm like, okay, maybe you have a reason. And then she does this, and I'm like, you stabbed Usopp? Like, I didn't believe he was dead immediately, just because not a lot of people die.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't believe you just stabbed him, left him to die.
I know, right? Just sink down in the water. I was like, yikes! What
Luffy, where are you?
Right, right. The whole time I was wondering where Luffy's at, because I'm freaking out myself too. I'm like, yikes! Who can help? Who can help out everybody right here?
Right. But he finally gets there.
Yeah.
The sea cow, I think it hits a wall and sends the boat flying, and it falls.
And literally hits Zoro.
Yeah. The whole situation, I was like, wow. And it reminded me of a trip, like an amusement park trip ride, because like it went first person, and like they're going through the trees, and I was like, oh, this is pretty fun. But I felt so bad for Zoro, because like he's already hurt so bad.
It's moments like these I wonder, like, what does the execution look like compared to the manga? Because, this is a scene where you see, like, Zoro's coming closer and closer, like, from the boat's perspective. Where it's like, I wonder how, like, because I don't remember how the manga showed that part.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this, I was just like, yeah, this is, like, why anime is fun. Like, it's just, like, this is what makes it so special. It's like these silly moments.
Speaking of the manga, we actually want to talk about our friends at Viz who do the manga. So yeah, we actually wanted to, give them a little shout out, as they just released their One Piece manga, the Omnibus Edition Volume 27, which is 3 volumes in one, and you should go grab your copy now. Also, the newest volume, One Piece Volume 90, comes out May 7th. It has some future stuff that you don't even know about.
Stuff that you
don't even worry about it.
We don't want to spoil it for you.
But if you're caught up to the anime, you're definitely going to want to read this manga, because it gives more details. Like it's all in the anime, but like it gives details that you're also going to want to read about. So yeah, you can also see for yourself the difference between the anime and the manga as you read it. So check that out. So now we're going to episode 34. Everyone's gathered. Usopp speaks the truth about Nami. So yeah, they just ran over Zoro. And Zoro's like, man,
we need to go get Usopp.
Yeah, right. And screw Nami. She's a traitor. We knew this about her a long time ago. She's horrible.
Johnny tells him, like, hey, don't bother. It's too late. Nami just killed Usopp.
And everyone's freaking out.
Yeah, everyone's freaking out. And Luffy's like, he doesn't believe it. Like, he's just like, never in a million years would she do. Yeah.
Same with Sanji. Sanji is just like,
never.
Well, Sanji doesn't go to
my
logic.
Darling Nami, yeah.
Well, he's not about logic, so.
He just follows his heart.
Aww.
Second heart. Anyways.
Oh my god. So Nami actually gets there, and Luffy's like, hey, you're a friend. Like, we came to get you. And she's being a jerk. She's like, friend? Who this?
It's like, how are you going to say this, especially as you just, like, walked out over here like this, right? But, everyone is like Nami's like, you guys got to go. No, you can't be here. I don't want to be a part of your crew anymore. Leave.
Yeah.
And, Luffy's just like, nah, I'm going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
Okay, if you don't want me to interfere in the island's business, then cool, but I'm just going to go to sleep.
You're still going to be my navigator.
Yeah.
He's hard-headed.
Like, I'm still going to wait.
I'm surprised that's a technique that would sort of work, honestly.
He did the same thing to Sanji.
Oh, yeah, he did, yeah. And that worked, too.
Yeah. He ended up joining.
I mean, I have a lot of kind of strong feelings about like why he decided to do it, and just the fact that Luffy kind of, he's never demanding anyone to, you know, to let him like save anyone. He's not trying to save anyone. He's just like, I'll be there when you need me, but I just, you know, I want you to be part of my crew. But, you know, he's not like forcing anyone to like, you know, he's not trying to go in and save the town. He's not a hero. He's just a pirate.
Yeah, he's not aiming to be a hero. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is a good point.
But he still has a very good heart, you know, and he's just waiting for Nami to ask him for help.
That's true.
Instead of, you know, forcing his rescue hero-ness on her or anything like that.
That's a great point. And I think that's an ideal way to go about life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like rather than having to assume things, you know, just sort of like wait until, you know, like, although I'm glad that it never got too far, you know, like where, you know, like, people died, or at least main people died. You know?
Sure, right, yeah. I feel like he wouldn't have let it go that far, but,
that's true.
You know, he was just like waiting for her to figure her things out, honestly.
Yeah, which is a constant for Luffy, I think, at least so far. Like when they faced Buggy and she's like, I don't want to deal with this. I have other plans, so I'll see you guys down the road. And Luffy's like, hey, it's okay. Cool. I'll see you later. Like, he never tries to keep anybody from doing what they want to do.
Yeah, he never, like, honestly, he never really assumed that, like, she was on his side in a way, I guess. Or at least he wasn't, like, relying on her to be like, but you're supposed to help us. What are you doing? Right? He's never done that, and I've never even heard him get angry at anybody like that.
Right. I mean, if he's all about, you know, pursuing his own dream, I don't think he's going to be demanding that others, you know, follow his dream. It's more like they got to decide for themselves what they want to do.
And then
it's cool.
Yeah, which is pretty neat. Also, you did mention before, like, how we saw Arlong, like, show off, like, how strong he is, you know, like when he carried a house. But then we see him having to deal with Marines. Like, the Marines were trying to assassinate him by... you know, so what he was doing before was he was paying Marines in order to keep a blind eye. So, you know, sort of like a warlord, but, you know, just under the table, like, paying this one Marine officer, I don't know what he was, to, you know, let him do what he's doing, right? So he's not supposed to, like, the officer wouldn't save this island right here, you know? But then that Marine was gonna assassinate him, or at least, like, take him out of the picture, so by shooting a cannonball at his whole squad. But what happens is that he actually catches a cannonball in his mouth.
In his mouth.
In his mouth, of all things, and just breaks it, and just like, that's like nice work out from my mouth, right?
Just a jawbreaker.
Yeah, right. Almost not even. Like, that was like a soft jawbreaker, right?
Yeah,
there.
Right? So he truly is very powerful.
And also he sends his top three people, Chu, the longmouth guy, Karubi, the
manta ray.
The manta ray karate guy, right? Samurai fish, right? And then also Hachan, the octopus, right? And he's like, okay, you guys go take care of it. Go deal with these ships that are trying to cause me trouble.
And they do it pretty easily.
Yeah. They actually make a whirlpool. And, like, they tear off the rudder. They make a whirlpool and then...
move the reef to make it.
They move the whole reef.
And that's when we find out, like, Nami's so important to them. Because they're like, the reason they were able to do all that was because they had Nami's charts. So they know, like, the seafloor and everything. They're like, we're gonna...
freaking amazing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I have no clue how to even get started with that. And I'm like, man, thank goodness for people like Nami.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't and I wouldn't.
Yeah, so now we see how she's, like, valuable to them, like, why they've kept her this whole time. Even though they hate humans, it's like, oh, well, she's
why is she
presented
cool?
a value. Yeah.
Exactly.
So the fishmen are a little bit hesitant about what Arlong says about the deal that they made, because he's gonna let her go if she pays the 100 million berries. And they're like, why would you let her go? And he's like, I made a promise and it's about money. And we're like, okay. I'm not sure if I trust you, but okay. And then some more Marines come for Nami. And I think that's the end of the episode.
So, now we're about to get, like, to the deep part of One Piece right
and
here.
This is such a cool part of the show. Like, just anytime you get to the real, like, backstories of the characters, oh, you know Oda is going to deliver. And it's so good.
Do you want to introduce us to the episode title?
Sure, yeah. Episode 35, Untold Past, Female Warrior Bellamere.
Nice. You're a natural at that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Man, okay, so, I mean, this one's super cool. Like, not only does it start off with Luffy just being a total BA, like walking through like the fishmen, just not caring, just chilling, whatever, living his own life, and they're just like, what art, like, well, okay, all
Just
right.
passing through.
All right.
But then Nojiko's come up to, you know, Sanji and Usopp and them and is like, hey, like, let me tell you a bit about Nami's past. And this is when she just starts telling us everything that we've been wanting to know. What is Nami's deal? Oh my gosh. So when it starts off, you see Nami charting the maps. And so this kind of answers what we saw before. It's like, how did she get so good at like being a navigator and all that stuff? And it's because she's doing it when she's like teeny tiny little kid.
Yeah, she was like 6 or something.
Yeah.
She like draws the whole island with like topographical like stuff, and you're like,
the
dang,
circles,
right?
all the contours and everything. And like she goes to some bookstore to like steal a book on navigating, so we see where it begins.
What a nerd. No, I'm kidding.
The cat burglar sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's where Genzo, the guy with the pinwheel on his head, he catches her, takes her home, and we meet Bellamere. So this BA super awesome woman is just this is it. This is the person in Nami's life who clearly has taught her how to sort of swoon her way out of things, you know, like just kind of
the charm that she
turn on the
right?
charm.
That's
and
true. I hadn't noticed that,
yeah,
but it is true. Because she sort of charms Genzo
she
into
charms
forgiving.
Genzo into and just she lays on that act, and I mean that's where Nami picked it up, Avi. And so this woman, you know, we find out she's not exactly their mother, but she essentially plays that role.
Also, I liked Bellamere's haircut, by the way.
Her haircut is so cool. Do you know the story about that
Very
one?
modern. No.
So a fan had once asked Oda, like, what do you call this haircut? And he didn't. He gave a joking answer. I guess he probably didn't know what it was called. And he was like, it's called Women Have Guts. Which is like, all right, Oda, I see you. That's true. That's really cool.
Okay.
I think it's called a Chelsea haircut. It's like a faux hawk where you just have a ponytail out the back. But
I had no clue.
Yeah.
I learned multiple things.
Yeah.
Right
It's really cool. Like I love her hairstyle.
Yeah,
She looks very badass.
Yeah,
It's like really modern right now with all the, you know, shaved buzz sides and stuff, and you're like, yeah.
You work it, girl.
For real. And like mother of 2.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and
girls.
she really is into that role because we sort of learned that they're having a bad time because there's a lot of tangerines this season, so they're not really selling a lot. And Bellamere's not eating. The girls notice that she's not eating, which is something a mom would do, you know, not eat to feed
and
her
she's like,
children.
oh, I'm just dieting. And you're like,
yeah.
the
That one
girls,
hurt.
they totally see right through it.
That hurt because I remember as a kid I was like, yeah, she doesn't want to eat. What's wrong with that? And then
Right.
And then as an adult I was like, oh,
Then you get it as an adult.
no, jeez.
But like Nojiko and Nami were really smart. You know, they picked up on it and they were like, no, liar. Like, you're just doing that because we don't have enough money.
Dang.
And this is where, you know, stuff happens. I feel like there's probably some stuff that Nami had bottled up and it just comes out and she's like, you know, why can't we have good food and stuff? And like, why do I get all these hand-me-down dresses? And this is where you start to see some of the issues is, you know, about Nami's independence. So Bellamere, obviously, you know, taught them very much, and she would frequently say this, you know, be strong. I think sometimes you'll see the phrases "be as strong as boys," and kind of reared them with this independence that they would have. And then you see Nami saying, like, fighting against having hand-me-downs, of having her sister's clothes. Like, she wants her own, and she kind of, you can tell she's just seeking this independence, and she goes and runs away, like runs off to be by herself.
Yeah, she heads back to town, and I think Genzo finds her again.
Yeah, Genzo finds her.
And he starts telling her the story of Bellamere and how she found them.
Yes.
Flashback in a flashback.
It's a flashback inception. So, yeah, he starts telling her how Bellemere joined the Marines, which very progressive.
That's true. We haven't seen any female.
She's the first female Marine, I think, officer that we see.
Yeah.
And so we can tell that she's an officer because she has the little dangly things on her shoulders. We don't really know what her rank is. But she's something kind of high up.
See, I told y'all that she has details. I didn't know that.
I mean, I'm just focusing on, what I could. But, we don't know a whole lot. But, they're in this one town when they're fighting, and the Marines are fighting, and basically there's just total devastation, and like she's about to die, and that's the moment and she's about to give in, and like this really tough woman is about to just like kick the bucket, and suddenly she hears some kids crying and gets up, and this is when she meets them. And this is the thing. She goes over and she sees Nojiko and Nami, and this is where you find out that Nojiko and Nami aren't actually related either. She just found Nami as well. And then suddenly Nami just starts laughing and smiling in the middle of all this devastation. She just brings so much happiness to these three, and they all start laughing together. And so that kind of relates to the line that you keep hearing Bellemere say, is survive and you will find happiness. Yeah, I don't know the exact line every single time. She's saying, survive and you will find this happiness. And that I'm pointing this out because this explains why Nami is so dead set on continuing to survive, continuing to just deal with Arlong. She'll deal with it. She'll put up with it. She's gonna survive because she believes that it'll bring them happiness. So all this time, if you're saying, why doesn't she just run away? Why doesn't she just leave and give it all up? It's because it's been put into her, upbringing to survive and persevere.
That's awesome. These are the details I'm learning too, right? I didn't know. I was like, Bellemere says that. I was like, I totally believe it.
This isn't like fact anyway. This is just my interpretation.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. As a copywriter, I've studied writing. I study stories, and I work on my own. So this is the kind of stuff that I feel like I can bring to the table.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, I mean, that's why it just gets me going. I'm like, this is where it all sticks together. You start to see why. So I guess after this point, so now Nami knows like Bellemere's story, and it's like, oh, okay.
She does care about us.
She does care about us, and she's given all these things, even though, Nami's quite this thief. She's been raised by this mother who gives everything, like all the last scraps of food, like the and later on you see every bit of money she has. It's just. That's who her mother is. So Nami returns to her home or goes to return, and I think this is
where Arlong comes in.
This is that moment. So I mean,
over the village.
Yeah. How did you feel about the way Arlong was just seeing it for the first time? I want to know.
Well, by now I technically know him.
Right.
So when I see him walk into the village, I'm like, oh no. So because I know what awaits. Like, this is the beginning of 8 years of torture for these people, including Nami. So I was very curious to know how did Nami go from being this little kid afraid of Arlong because they go and hide in the woods to being a pirate.
We about to see.
I know,
right?
We about to see. So yeah, Arlong comes in with his pirates, and he's like, "All right, everyone's gonna pay me now, or else I'm gonna kill all y'all."
And that's where he says what the tribute is.
So yeah, 100,000 for every adult and 50,000 for the kids,
which is a lot of money. Yeah. Like I don't have
cash.
$100,000.
It's like I don't have $100,000 at all.
Right, and I don't know if it quite equates to 100,000.
Yeah.
Because Japanese currency has 2 more zeros than ours does. Ours does basically.
So
the 100,000 berries could be $10,000.
I don't know. I would try to equate it to maybe Luffy's wanted poster amount. Like I can't reel that off at the top of my head. But
I am so
just
bad
think
at
about
math,
that. Y'all don't even know. I am too. I can't math.
Because she hasn't seen the extent it goes to. But yes, but
regardless, we find out kind of how much it's worth. It's basically all of Bellamir's savings is 100,000 berries. That's how much it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, Arlong goes up and they see the smoke from her house, and at this point you've seen the entire village is like just thinking, oh, thank goodness they haven't noticed her. Like they're trying to protect the family because they know she can't pay.
Yes.
This whole village is behind them this whole time, and Arlong goes up there and he's like, hey, like. There's one person in this house. Okay, like pay up.
We have to go there.
100,000. And
the episode ends.
Yeah, the episode ends as they see the smoke.
As they head to her house.
Smoke, that's when it was. Okay.
They head to her house, and when they get there, that's where it ends.
That's where it ends.
And we're like, I was like, oh no, she's gonna get killed.
Man.
She doesn't have enough money.
I definitely want to hear what you think about episode 36.
This is one, yet again, one of those moments where I'm glad I didn't have to wait a week to see what's gonna happen.
For real.
Golly.
So we go to episode 36.
Yeah.
Survive. Mother Bellamere and Nami's bond.
Oh boy.
And that's when it happens.
Yes, so that's when they get to her, find Bellamere, and they propose this price. And in the distance in the forest, you see some of the villagers have come up and have stopped Nami and Nojiko from going to Bellamere. They're like, no, wait, hang on, stay here. We're going to have to ship you off. You're going to have to sail off to, basically erase yourselves from this island. Yeah, so you can live and survive because Bellamere can't pay for you. But
then, she's missing half the money.
Yeah, she's missing half the money for them. But then, so she goes and gets the money and brings it to him, and you're just like, that's when you realize, that's when she says, this is for my 2 daughters. And how did you feel? Because I was my first time hearing it, I was like, Bellamere, what are you doing?
I was thinking,
I was like, girls, you need to go. And then because Nami doesn't want to go, she's like, I'm not gonna go. I'm like, little girl, your mom is gonna get killed.
Yeah.
You can't come back.
And I liked how the whole town was like, okay, we'll get you out of here. We don't have to worry about this. We'll you have to leave right now, but maybe eventually you'll come back.
And then she brings out the money, like you said, and Nami's like, I'm not leaving. But then she doesn't have to leave because that's immediately when Bellamere says, this is the money for my daughters. And I'm like, no, you're sacrificing yourself.
I know.
And I just couldn't deal. I was like, that's your mom. Right. And they're watching. Right. And she's about to get killed. Right. And she gets killed. She just
What'd you think about that? That you saw someone actually die.
Yeah, she's just ready. She's not even flinching or anything. She just walks up to Arlong and stands there, and he shoots her in the chest, right in front of her. And we see another person die, which doesn't happen a lot, and it has to be Nami's mom, and I feel so sorry for her right in front of them. These are just 2 little kids who've been through a lot, especially Nojiko, because Nami was a baby, but
Nojiko's seen annihilation.
Yeah, exactly. Nojiko's been in a battlefield.
Yeah, right.
And I just feel so sorry for them. I was like, tears down my face.
In the manga, actually, because in the anime, I believe he shoots her in the chest. In the manga, he shoots her in the head.
Oh no, that's even
the
worse.
silhouette is just slightly different, and so it's just it's rough, and that's the cool thing about One Piece, because for 1 minute you have a fat sea cow just running into a building and being dumb. The next minute, a guy is shooting a mother in her head, in front of her children. You just okay, all right.
Yes, you have tears, laughter, you have everything, and just
like I said,
intermissions.
I've never had a show that's made me laugh as hard and cry as much, because this moment got me too, where. I wasn't when I first saw it, I wasn't expecting Bellamere to die. And just how fraught this whole situation was, of how bad things are. So, and then the whole town is trying to fight for them, but they get beat up and killed. Some of them get killed along the way. And it's just man, this is horrible. And you see how Gento gets his scars too.
Yeah, he gets cut up, and he's he's trying to protect the girls and everything. And also shortly after this, you find out that the rest of the Arlong pirates have gone and destroyed all the other ships and stuff. So this is the point where someone kind of raises the point, we see that Bellamere probably, with her military experience, marine experience, she kind of knew that there was no way that Nami and Nojiko could survive on the seas without her. They weren't going to get away. So that's why she knew she had to make it so that they could live on the island. So it gives a little bit of explanation, so you're less mad at her and more just like, thank you, Bellamere, but still. It hurts.
Yeah. It does. It hurts a lot.
I was like, Arlong, why'd you have to do all this stuff right here? But, ugh, geez. Yeah. So then a little bit later on, we see Nami makes a deal with the Arlong pirates, right? Yeah. And, we see this girl.
Well, they kidnap her first.
They kidnap her,
They kidnap her, and you have this moment where you're like, what's going to happen to her? Do? And it's because they saw her map, and they're like, oh, dang, this is a really good map, and they're like, oh, we can use this. And it's when she walks back into town that everyone is like,
what happened? Are you okay?
What happened?
Because also she's like injured, at least like it looks like she's been beat up or bruised. But then the biggest striking thing is that she has a tattoo, and the tattoo is of the Arlong Pirates.
She's like, I joined them, and they're like, what? And she's like, yeah, and she has a tattoo to prove it. And I'm like, okay, 10-year-old without tattoo.
Hardcore 10-year-old.
And she's like, they gave me money, and I don't want to die. And I'm like, well, that's a tough choice for a kid to make, honestly. But then now we know that why she did it. She I don't want to say that she doesn't care about the money because
she definitely does.
I'm not sure about that part.
I think that's been ingrained in her.
But she does do it to save, the rest of the town.
So like you said, her treasure might be the people, right?
I think her treasure is
treasure
still.
Well, I think you're right though, Josellie, because it totally makes sense, because before she even was with Arlong, before the Arlong pirates came in, she was a cat burglar. She was worried about their family not having enough money. Money was a concern in their family from the get-go. So it makes sense that she would just inherently have this desire for money the whole time. Truly. But
the bigger purpose at this moment.
Right. The reason she joined the Arlong pirates was not,
it was not to
make
money.
The riches, but to protect her town.
The town.
I know. I know.
Collective tears.
I know, right?
For real. And so she does tell Nojiko that she made this deal and explains it, and you see her just like, okay, I've got this much and I'm just going to keep working. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to make all this money. And she believes
she's going to do it. And as you see, we see the years progress a little bit. She's a little bit older, and she just
she's been going through a lot of hard situations to get that money.
And she still got the same resolve as the first day. She's still positive as she's hiding the money. And Nojiko's like, okay. But she's very convinced that she's going to be able to pull this off. And it's been taking her 8 years.
8 long years. And then we see that rat-faced Marine. Present day just walks up like, hey, I heard there was some treasure around here. I don't know about y'all, but my heart just sinks.
My heart sank too. It was like 8 years to get $90 million, dollars or berries, right?
Gosh.
And all of it taken away by the military. It's like, I was hurt. I was like, what are you gonna do? You gonna fight the cops?
The very people that they're just hoping will come and protect them and save them are actually just
the ones extorting them too.
Extorting them.
That's the beginning of episode 37.
Luffy rises, result of the broken promise. So the Marines are trying to find where the treasure's at, and Nami's stopping them. She's actually beating up the cops.
And she's telling them what Jonna's saying. She's like, okay, there are pirates terrorizing this town, and really you're going to come for my treasure? I bet there's a lot of better things to use your authority on.
Man.
But do they care? No, because this is that rat who's been getting paid off by Arlong.
By Arlong. And it was just horrible. And at least one good thing that sort of came out of this is Nami gets to find out from the city, from the townspeople, including especially Genzo, that they all knew what she was aiming to do, and they were rooting for her. So it's not like she was an outcast. like she thought she was. You know, she was ready to be an outcast and for no one to like her.
Yeah.
But
Godswill tells her that they didn't tell her because they knew she wouldn't want them to know, so they sort of acted that way towards her all this time, even though they knew what she was doing for them.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome, honestly.
Yeah, it is really...
I like how this whole community is like so tight knit and like really down to help each other. You know, like they're down to go fight together. They're down to like really protect one another. You know,
this is a theme you'll see a lot in throughout One Piece. It's just the way that it's always like a whole town tends to have this one opinion. Either they're like completely like misled and they have this horrible opinion about someone who's actually good, vice versa, or they're just 100% behind someone. Like it's this true like awesome power of nakama kind of feel going through, and it's so cool. I love that.
And it was endearing throughout this whole arc, I would say, for sure, seeing how the town people were always willing to throw down, you know, for whoever they cared about. So but the marine says that he knew like how much money was hidden.
Yeah, he tells her, I know you have X amount of berries hidden in an orchard or something.
Yeah.
And she's like, how'd you know about that? And then he sort of thinks to himself, and we find out that he's actually getting 30% of the cut from that money from
Should
Arlong.
ask for more.
Don't get me wrong. It's like 30 million is still really good, but you know,
still,
right? I mean, you hear 90 million. Yeesh.
I mean, if you're gonna be a villain and steal it all,
he's just not that bad. He's just corrupt, you know.
He's just a loser.
No, and we see Luffy in the background, just like, "Hey, Nami, what's up? You need any help?" Just like what you said.
Chilling.
Oh, nothing. You know,
just waiting.
The cops trying to take my money. No biggie, right?
Exactly. But what you said is true. Like he's just there waiting for his friend to need him, actually need him, or realize that she needs him. So Nami's like, nah, man, I just want to go and confront Arlong because I figured out that he's the one who wants to take my money, so that means he's not gonna, you know, be good on his promise.
Also, the thing with Arlong, he said, I never break my deal. I always, especially if it's about money, I'll never break my deal. Even if it's with a human, I'll never break my deal. And lo and behold, here he is breaking his deal, but he's using the cops to break his deal. So that way it's like, hey, man, I didn't know about the cops were going to come do that, but looks like you got to start over. So
he's trying to make a loophole there.
Exactly.
Oh, God, just gut-wrenching. Just how low can this dude get?
Right?
Exactly.
And it's like, she worked for this for 8 years. Like, it's super not fair.
This whole time you see the striking counter between how, like, you want to distrust Nami, this and that, but then you find out the one who's really not trustworthy is Arlong. Ugh.
What a shame. So,
God. Awful.
Yeah, so she's super pissed, and she's about to go off.
That's when the villagers...
The villagers all stand up, and they're like, okay, enough of this. Like, Arlong's never going to let us go. We're going to take it into our own hands. And they all get their weapons and arms, and they are about to go storm Arlong Park. But, you know, it just sort of puts Nami in a worse position because she knows that, like, they're powerless against these fishermen. And, you know, just this also was a heart-wrenching scene for me, too, where she like all the people are walking past her, and she is just distraught. Honestly, she's
devastated.
Yeah.
She's like
all the hard work that she's put in to hopefully protect everybody has gone away, and now there's about to be a war where the humans are going to lose. So, and she sees her arm, which has the symbol of her captor, you know, like her slaver, honestly, right? And she loathes that symbol, you know, like this has been the symbol of her torture for years. So she picks up a knife that's right by her, and she stabs into her arm.
She starts stabbing it like several times.
Yeah,
like,
several times.
Arlong. And that was very hard to watch.
I mean,
that was hard to watch for sure.
Like this moment is like, this is when Nami's like two main goals are like completely compromised, because one, she wants to save the town herself, like that whole independence thing, and what she's been raised to be is independent, and she failed at that, and in a way that like there was nothing she could do. Meanwhile, at the same time, she never wanted anyone else involved, didn't want anyone else to get hurt, and here they are walking by her to their deaths, and she's just at a complete loss. And that's when she's just taking out on herself, also Arlong, you know, and just,
To me, it was I felt her frustration.
Yeah.
Like,
and I would honestly have to say, like, both the actresses, sub and dub, like, did, like, such an immense emotional part. Like, this was the moment, I think, that really dragged me into One Piece, like, being more than just, like, a shonen beater-up to, like, a really well-played drama type of deal. You know, like, it has, like, a high moments and low moments, too, and, like, it hits hard when it hits.
Yes. And this is the moment when Luffy comes up.
Yeah.
He's not saying anything. He just catches her arm.
Yeah, he just catches.
He actually didn't even know the story too. Like he
doesn't
missed
know the
out
story.
on the whole backstory.
Like all this stuff that we're gripped by. No, all he sees is his friend like hurting herself, and he grabs her hand.
And he has a serious face. He's like,
yeah, you don't see that kind of face on Luffy all the time,
Yeah,
but when you do. And, and that's the moment when Nami turns around and she says it herself. This is the point where like her character like realizes what she needs to do, and she asks him, says, "Will you help me?" And this is what I was saying before, is like the whole like thing how Luffy has respected her independence and like letting her resolve this on her own. Like he's not going in there and saying like, "Come on, Nami, let me save you. Like, let me, like, be the hero." Like, you expect in shonens, okay? Like, of course the guys are just going to sweep in and save the girl. She needs to be rescued.
And she appreciates that.
No. Yeah. It's like she's not like, "Oh, come save me." She's saying, "Hey, friend, I need your help because I can't achieve this alone."
and then Luffy says, "Of course, that's what friends do." And I'm like, that's the moment where I think I was like, okay, this show.
I got goosebumps now.
My man, this show.
Oh, it's so good.
Man.
Yeah, and I really just wanted to cry. Like I even got a lump on my throat because I was like, because like you said, that's what Luffy's waiting for, and he respects her, but he didn't just go because she didn't need him. He's like, "I'm gonna stay because if you need me, I'm gonna be here." And to me, that was like,
Yeah.
You guys are deep, because I think I was just like, yeah, he's gonna go fight them now. Cool. But you know, like, yeah, you guys like really reached to the heart of that moment, because I remember like when I saw it. I mean, I didn't get all of that the first time because I think I was just so enthralled by Nami stuff, but I didn't see, I guess, like Luffy's motivations really and how deep it was versus just like, Luffy, go fight, yeah. You know?
And that's okay too. Like that's the.
But
great
it makes
thing
it
about
makes
One
it
Piece,
even better. Like as you just said it right now, I'm like, yes, this is way better too.
It's like there's so many layers in One Piece, and you can go in as deep or as shallow as you want to. Wherever you find your entertainment, that's why it's just so great.
Yeah,
because
Luffy
anyone
go
can
fight.
find it. Yeah, Luffy go fight.
Yeah, he punch hard.
So Luffy puts his hat on Nami, which was also like,
because he never takes off the hat.
he never takes off the
They
hat.
even have that flashback when he's like, "Don't touch my hat" or whatever, and it's like, "Oh, but he'll give it to Nami."
Yeah, that means a lot. He's trusting you with, and she knows because when she feels the hat, she's like, you see her reflect a bit, so you know that she knows what it means.
Yeah, because also she even patched his hat too. Like when Buggy stabbed the hat, she patched it up for him. So, man, so this is like a really good symbol right here, where it's just sort of like one of us, like, you know, like it's almost as if like he put it on himself again, but like, you know, like, or someone he really cares about, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's like, it's like him saying like, you're one of my friends, like you're part of my crew.
I might knock him up.
Does he ever put his hat, like remove his hat, put it on anyone else?
I think so.
I mean,
so.
so
Okay.
far,
Maybe.
I think so.
no, but
Yeah, but yeah,
in
you
the
would know.
future.
Yeah.
So he starts walking towards the town, and we see like this. I love this scene because there's like a. Yes, I love this right now. We see like a zoom out, and he's walking, and all of his guys are waiting in the entrance of the town.
I can't contain it. I'm sorry, Andrew. You're gonna have to edit this part because I can't contain it. Oh God. The music started.
It's so good.
It is so good.
And they walk like just four like just awesome dudes walking in town, like and they also they were waiting. They were waiting for the go ahead.
Right there.
They weren't gonna do it.
Squad. Let's go.
Squad.
Oh my God, that part was so, I was like, I'm ready for these guys to fight this shark.
Oh,
Yes.
my God, yes.
So we see the townspeople finally get to Arlong's Park, and Yosaku and Johnny are at the entrance covering it with their swords.
And they're actually looking pretty badass too. Like,
they're
I'm
like bouncers of Arlong's Park.
Right.
I'm like, weren't you guys gonna leave?
Right.
Okay.
Which I wouldn't blame them. They also got beat up too.
And the townspeople are like, they're all riled up, and they want to get in and start fighting, and they're like, no, we're waiting for some guys. Like, you guys trust us. You guys want to wait for these guys. And then we see like the 4 guys just like, what's the music?
Dun, 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 dun.
And then end of episode.
So good. So good.
And to be continued.
Man, you guys did such a good job of putting this episode together. I'm just like, the moments.
The moments.
Heart, right?
You feel it.
I'm feeling it. So, I actually asked a social question for this episode. So, on Facebook and on our Twitter channels, I asked people, what did you guys think of Nami when you first met her? And up to this part. So when you first met her to the end of this current arc, Arlong Park, what did you think about her? And we got a lot of different reactions for sure. Sierra, I think, said it pretty well. Like, also, I think you would agree with this. Before Arlong Park, she can't be trusted. Watch out, Luffy. But after Arlong Park, Nami swine.
I feel you. I feel you.
Right, and then Patrick, even put up a good reason too. Like, where he's like, I have mixed feelings on her. I like how she can be selfless around children, and I don't mind her greediness and relevancy, but I can barely tolerate her temper. But to answer your question, she was an alright character, though I absolutely respect her determination of going through hell to save her village. And I agree with that. I was like, that's a good point. Like, there's sometimes I'm like, chill out, but many times, personally, I'm like, yeah, she's the glue. She's like she's like the acid in a way, I guess, that you need for the group, but like, sometimes a different flavor, sort of caustic, but, very important to keeping them all alive, honestly. What did you guys think about her when you first met her?
Well, you know what I thought.
Yeah, I know what you thought.
I'm like this girl that you just said, like, when I met her, she was always so sneaky, and then she stole the ship, and I just couldn't deal with that. I was like, there's no reason to abandon your crew. But she had pretty good reason. I still think she should have waited.
Yep.
We could have all confronted this as a united front,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I can cut her some slack now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. How about you, Jonna?
I think my first time watching it, years ago, my first time watching One Piece, yeah, I definitely was also just like, oh my gosh, like, she's terrible, like, I can't trust her, kind of thing, and like, the whole like back and forth when Zoro jumps in the water and then she saves him, and then like when she stabs Usopp, but then you're like, oh no, she just stabbed her own hand instead, and you're just like, I don't know what to think.
You're right.
And eventually, you see the whole story unfold, and you're like, oh, like, that's very tragic, but still, kind of just like upset. Why did she have to be so awful? But now I think going back, seeing it, knowing who she becomes more, and also just being able to like analyze it as I do more from a story perspective, and just really pay attention to character motivations. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what a heartbreaking story, and like I feel her like every step of the way. Yeah. I agree. So like, power to her.
Yeah, honestly, like I think you said it best. Like me, I didn't like her at first, and now that like I'm older, I'm like, yeah, we need someone to be mature on the ship.
Yeah.
So like I'm like, okay, I dig it, and like up to this point, yeah, I really didn't like her, but especially seeing back like you right now, like it's like, it all makes sense, and I think it's very fair to sort of keep this sort of emotional distance, because if everything worked out, I wouldn't have wanted anyone to get involved like this too. So I think that's fair. And also, OG Rubberman on Twitter says she's the actual captain of the Straw Hats.
All right. Okay. If you say so.
I mean, she does keep them on track.
I'm saying.
She is the navigator.
I'm saying.
I mean,
well, they're not called the Namis, though.
To be fair, they're not called the Luffys either. But
she doesn't own the Straw Hat. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, it was put on her head right now.
Okay,
Godswill.
She's a temporary captain.
Temporary. Okay, I like that. She would be number 2 if Luffy was ever out. I think she'd be number 2.
You think so?
Really?
I've always thought it was Zoro. Isn't he?
True.
Is he officially the best mate? I had this question.
So he's officially number 2 because he was recruited the second guy. He was the second guy to be recruited.
But I feel like he has some sort of authority with the other guys.
He does. I feel like I've either seen it or heard it somewhere. It's just like he's kind of like second in command.
He is. He's the vice captain for sure.
Captain,
but when it comes to like direction, it's definitely not Zoro.
No.
Well, yeah, that's true though, because Zoro would just be fighting all the time.
Like he's like the heart where he's like, okay, this is like the will. We're going to continue it. But if it comes to direction, it's
like,
Nami.
Yeah, like they would have the heart, but they wouldn't get anywhere.
Yes, exactly. It's like, what do we do now? I don't know. Let's just keep going and get some food.
Just stop here and drink some booze.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. So now it's time for the last episode of this podcast episode. Episode 38, Luffy in Big Trouble. Fishmen versus the Luffy Pirates. The Luffy Pirates.
Yeah, I know, right? They're still deciding a name there?
I know, right? I guess they haven't called themselves the Straw Hats yet. So now Luffy is walking with his squad real tight, to walk through the gates, the bouncers, like, you guys are good to go, right? And then he doesn't even say anything. He just walks up and just punches Arlong in the face. No hi, hello, or anything, right?
Nope. That's for making our navigator cry.
Yeah, facts.
Heck yeah.
Facts, though. Facts.
Yeah.
And then, the whole squad comes in. No one else is let in. It's like, you guys aren't cool enough. You guys need more battle power to get in through these gates. And, which I definitely appreciate Johnny and Yosaku. I appreciate them.
Yes.
Good guys.
And then one of the fishermen calls Moo Moo, which we find out that's the sea cow's name.
Right,
Moo Moo.
So cute.
And Moo Moo's gonna actually leave because it's hurt. But Arlong calls it back, and Luffy does this move that he's been thinking about
ever since looking at Genso.
Ever since he saw
Oh my
Genso.
gosh, that's right, the pinwheel.
He's like the gum pinwheel.
Yeah, right. I don't think he's ever done this move again.
Really?
I don't think so.
I think so.
I don't think so. I think maybe like this move was so bad that you like never again.
I can see how it would be hard to apply.
Yeah.
If
very
it's
much.
not to a sea monster.
What he did was he planted his feet in the concrete where he was, right? Span himself around a ton, and as he grabbed the cow, right, and span that cow all the way out, which was dope. Dope move.
Yeah.
Also poor cow though, right?
Poor cow. I always feel so sorry for the cow, honestly.
He's like, yeah, he sort of deserves it, but not to this extent. Chill out, right?
And he's like, Arlong, step up. I came here for you, man.
But I can't step out of this. Can someone help me out with this?
Right. Then he sees that planting his feet on the floor wasn't a great idea.
Stupid.
Because he can't, he can't get away.
And the stupid thing is like he didn't say anything for a while. He's just like, oh, guys.
He just gets inked by the octopus. And the guys were like, why aren't you moving? Why aren't you dodging attacks? And it's like, because he can't move.
Oh, my God. And yeah, like it's just real like, now you say that, like, why don't you think this through, man?
The guys are like, I think it's Sanji that says, I picked an idiot for a captain.
Yeah. Regrets.
And Zoro's like, we all did, man. Like, chill out.
One of us. Weeble wobble weeble.
Usopp's like, but Luffy's great. Usopp's the only one that defends Luffy at this point.
Thanks, Usopp.
Oh, man. So
they start fighting, and Usopp's trying to help Luffy get out of...
but he's stuck. Yeah.
But he's stuck, yeah. And he's rubber, so he's just like...
Yeah, he's just bouncing
stretching,
back.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna work.
So he sort of, I don't remember quite well this part, but I think he gets distracted at some point and lets go of Luffy, and then he hits one of the guys, right? The octopus.
I think so, yeah.
So like a slingshot type of deal. Yeah. So maybe he meant to do that because, Usopp's the slingshot guy, right? And then, he does it into Big Mouth Chew, which makes him mad.
Yes.
Where, like, that's why Chew starts chasing him after a while.
Right.
He's like, okay,
that is
you gotta die, bastard. And it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And then what happens is Arlong ends up picking up Luffy, like, just ends up scooping up the concrete underneath Luffy's feet, and then just throws him into the water. But he's about to throw him in the water, but Luffy bites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arlong bites him, and Luffy bites him back.
And it's like, what are you doing?
Why not?
I'm like,
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
you're weird and annoying. I'm just going to throw you into the water.
And then he throws him to the water, which is...
Golly.
I mean, even if he could swim, which he can't.
Yes.
Right.
This is a bad situation.
This is a bad situation.
It is the beginning of my traumatic experience with One Piece.
This is when you start holding your breath.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And you just wait for the next episode to load.
All right, next week, y'all. All right.
This is to the bottom, and I think that's it. That's where it ends.
Mm-hmm. To be continued.
To be continued.
What do you think, and what do you think is going to happen?
I don't know what to think. Like, by the time we got here, when I was watching it, it was so hard to process all of this information.
It's a lot.
Because
all the Bellemere stuff.
Yeah, all of the Bellemere stuff, all of Nami's story.
Golly.
And, I had my own opinion of Nami at this point, which I'm confronting now because...
torn asunder.
It just suddenly flipped around.
Yeah, so I'm torn about what to think. I don't know. And also, Luffy's in real trouble.
One note also is, just keep that in mind. That feeling you have now about Nami, just keep that in mind a lot for a lot of characters because Oda Sensei does that a ton. There's some times where I'm like, man, bump this guy, and then backstory. And it's like, oh.
And then now you feel horrible for the opinion that you formed as a viewer of this character.
Good or bad.
How
Good
dare
or
I?
bad. Good or bad.
Yeah, good or bad.
Yeah.
So, yes. Anyways, just keep that emotion in mind because there's times I forgot that feeling, and then I'm just like, I'm sorry. How could I doubt you?
Yeah, when you stick with One Piece long enough, you start to learn not to judge characters too quick.
Which is also another life lesson. Don't judge people too quick, I guess, right?
Thanks, Oda.
And then predictions, Luffy's in real trouble. He could drown. So I am hoping that Nami steps up. I know she's going through a tough time, but I know she's a tough girl. So I know that she can help. So hopefully she gets up and helps him. Yeah, I'm thinking that's what's going to happen.
Just put a Band-Aid on your shoulder and, good to go, all right? Don't worry about that shoulder joint.
It's all good. You just stabbed it 3 inches deep into your arm. It's all good.
Several times.
Also, I learned if you're going to take off a tattoo in a more brutal way, just peel it off. Don't stab into it like that.
God. Why, Nami?
Anyways, that's the end of that episode, and we hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining our podcast.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. This is super fun.
Yeah, and you taught us. This is the perfect time to brought you in. You have taught us so much. So maybe for another deep session episode, I'm gonna have to bring you in. Maybe,
definitely.
maybe Annie's lobby area.
Sure.
Ooh. I think it'd be perfect actually for you. So
yeah.
Yes. So
speaking of, I don't know if I mentioned this. So the directors in One Piece, I don't know if you knew, but the studio would rotate them out. So you have a different director and honestly different crew on each episode. So the director of episode 35 was different from in 36.
Wow.
Episode 36 was his name is Konosuke Uda.
Okay.
And he is also the series director.
Oh.
So the series director stays the same throughout. But just because, the production has to go so fast, they change them out. And so he actually, he was the series director all the way until Enies Lobby.
Wow.
So, or somewhere around there. So
Okay.
that's why I brought that up. It's it's cool. So we'll see. I'm interested to see just kind of, how it all progresses to that point.
All right. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see because also I had no clue about the directors right there. So
I know. Well, on our end of the work, we get to see a little bit of credits and things like that. So
I like that.
I noticed.
Okay. Well, cool. See, eye for detail. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to all you listeners out there, all our nakama. Don't forget to check out the Funimation blog on funi.to/onepiecepodcast, which will be updated constantly with the binge routes and everything you need to know about this podcast series. And also head out to our shop, funimation.com/shop, and add One Piece home video to your collection.
And for all things One Piece, follow us on Facebook at One Piece Official and Twitter at One Piece at a Time. We also want to thank the people who make this podcast happen. The creator of One Piece, Oda Sensei.
Thank you, Oda Sensei.
Toei Animation.
Thank you, Toei Animation.
The fabulous audio engineers.
Thank you, Andrew and Austin.
And of course, everyone joining us on this journey. Jonna, who joined us this week. All you Straw Hats out there listening. So Please rate this podcast wherever you're listening to it and share it with other One Piece Nakamas.
Yeah. The next One Piece at a Time will cover anime episodes 39 through 47, so be sure to watch it on Funimation now, subbed or dubbed, and be ready. See ya. Peace.